before he became a president, before the prison, the protests, and the Peace Prize. Nelson Mandela was just a barefoot boy in a distant African village, a boy who listened more than he spoke, a child molded not by power, but by humility, tradition, and quiet courage. This is the true beginning of Nelson Mandela, a story of ancestry, adversity, and awakening. Along the way, you will not only improve your English, you will be inspired to believe that greatness can rise from the smallest of places. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in the small village of Mvezo, in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. His given name was Rolihlahla, which in Xhosa means pulling the branch of a tree, sometimes interpreted as the troublemaker. But young Mandela was not a troublemaker. He was a child of tradition, growing up among rolling hills, cattle, and elders who passed on stories by firelight. His home was a simple hut. His world was wide-open fields. He had no shoes, no toys, and no luxuries. But he had something more powerful, a sense of belonging, identity, and purpose. Mandela's father, Gadla Henry Mafakanyiswa, was a local chief and counselor to the Thembu royal family. Though not wealthy, the family was respected and deeply rooted in tradition. From a young age, Rolihlahla observed his father settle village disputes with fairness and calm. He learned that true leadership isn't loud. It listens, weighs, and serves. These quiet lessons would stay with him forever. At the age of 9, Mandela's life changed sharply when his father passed away. His mother, seeking a better future for her son, took him to Mqhekezweni, where Chief Jongintaba Dalindyebo, acting regent of the Thembu nation, took the boy in as his own. Suddenly, Rolihlahla entered a new world, one of royalty and responsibility. Here, he witnessed council meetings, leadership debates, and traditional ceremonies that planted deeper seeds of wisdom in his young heart. It was in this new home that he began school. On his first day, the teacher gave him a new name, Nelson. It was a British custom to assign English names to African students, and though the name felt foreign, he accepted it. From that day on, two identities lived within him, Rolihlahla, rooted in African soil, and Nelson, shaped by the outside world. Mandela became a dedicated student, falling in love with literature, history, and stories of African heroes who resisted colonial rule. In the classroom, he learned that education was more than knowledge. It was power. It was a shield. It was a doorway to freedom. At 16, he underwent a traditional Xhosa initiation ceremony into manhood. During that ritual, instead of simply celebrating, the elders mourned their people's loss of freedom. It was the first time Mandela felt the pain of apartheid in his soul. At 19, Chief Jongintaba arranged a marriage for him, a customary step. But Mandela wanted to choose his own path. He dreamed of higher education and a future not confined by tradition. So he did something bold. He ran away to Johannesburg. He arrived in the city with a small suitcase, worn shoes, and a fire inside. But Johannesburg was no city of dreams. It was a place of deep division and harsh reality. Mandela first settled in the crowded township of Alexandra. Life was hard. He worked as a night security guard in a gold mine, sleeping during the day and standing through freezing nights. He barely earned enough to eat, but he never let go of his dream. Eventually, he found work as a clerk at a law firm run by a white Jewish lawyer named Lazar Sidelsky. Sidelsky noticed Mandela's hunger to learn and encouraged him to study. Mandela read legal documents, observed trials, and realized something profound. If he could understand the law of the oppressor, he could one day fight it from within. Often the only black student in his class, he endured racism, isolation, and mockery. But he endured. By night, he studied by candlelight in his tiny rented room. By day, he watched a system designed to keep people like him small. Every exam, Every case he studied, every book he opened, all strengthened his resolve. Education didn't just sharpen his mind, it hardened his spirit. Around this time, Mandela began meeting young intellectuals, writers, and students equally frustrated with injustice. They debated politics, discussed freedom, and dared to imagine a different South Africa. Through them, Mandela discovered the African National Congress, the ANC, and it felt like finding his voice. In 1944, at just 26, he co-founded the ANC Youth League. They wanted more than speeches. They wanted action. That same year, Mandela married Evelyn Mays, a nurse who shared his hopes for a better country. They started a family, but Mandela's path was never going to be quiet. His days were spent working, organizing, and speaking at rallies. His nights were spent reading, planning, and writing. Balancing family and activism was difficult, but he believed his sacrifices could create a better world for his children and generations to come. He was arrested, monitored, and threatened. But he stood firm. His speeches carried strength without hate. He did not seek revenge. He sought justice. Mandela once said, "There is no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living." This became his truth. He wasn't yet the prisoner. He wasn't yet the president, but the leader had already risen. The journey of young Mandela reminds us that leadership doesn't begin with applause. It begins in silence, in the moments we choose to grow, to learn, and to rise, even when no one is watching. From the hills of the Eastern Cape to the crowded streets of Johannesburg, Mandela was becoming a man of vision, not through privilege, but through struggle. In our next video, From Barefoot Boy to Law Student, Mandela's Fight for Education, we'll explore the sacrifices Mandela made to chase knowledge in a world determined to keep him uneducated. You'll witness how late nights, hunger, and rejection forged the steel of his mind, and how education became his greatest act of defiance. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the bell, because the boy who studied by candlelight would one day light up the world.